Alright, how's it going, guys? So I've got another kind of pretty long introduction for this right here. So it's another video analysis today on Fiora, but for the purpose of this video, I'm going to be focusing a lot on the thought process I take throughout the game. So there's going to be a lot of pausing, a lot of kind of explaining for what I do, when I do it, and all things like that. So if you're looking for just raw, uncut gameplay, you probably won't like this video. I've actually got a few kind of gameplay video ideas that might be coming out soon. So if you would prefer to just watch that, then skip this video and watch those. So today, yeah, like I said, I'm going to be using Fiora, and in general, most stab characters kind of play an offensive role very similarly. So I would play Jenny, I'd play Fiora, I'd even play Shuichi, kind of in a very similar vein in terms of their early offensive presence and in terms of what routes kind of they take. So with these characters, kind of the general strategy is to go after the Lance of Poseidon. So stab is basically stab is one of the best weapons of the game. The main reason for this is because Lance of Poseidon path gives you a ton of resources, both in terms of armor as well as in stamina items. So there's very few weapon paths that can match the purified water recovery that you get from the Lance path, as well as health recovery as well. So the Lance route, you get pretty much a plethora of fantastic health items. You get curry, you get chocolate pie boxes, being the second stage of chocolate pie. Plus just a little bit of extra work, you can also get stuff like liquor bread or even potentially turtle soup. So these are all really nice options that you can get along this path. The other benefit for Lance is kind of how open it is to which order you want to make the different parts, the different components, or really just in general where you want to start. So you can essentially begin building the Lance of Poseidon from Uptown, from Hotel, or even from Temple. So you have a lot of leeway, you have a lot of options available. At this point, I'd also like to really quickly talk about backups before I get into the actual video. So you should always have at least 2 backups to your weapon. Should you be bullied out of an area, should you have a hard time finding the item. In general, Lance of Poseidon is its own backup because, like I mentioned, you can start building the twin blades or you can start building the spear, both from different locations. But the parallel sword is typically the go-to backup weapon for stab characters. Usually you take this when you have the whetstone and you're either bullied out before you can get both your knives, or you simply just can't find your knives. So after you get the whetstone, essentially you only need to visit 2 areas, the slum and the cemetery, and then your weapon is complete. So the road is pretty barren for armor in comparison to the Lance path, but that's basically why it's a fallback. Anyways, I'll get into the video right now, and I'll pause over a few different scenarios, and like I said before, I'll just explain everything, why I'm doing things, where I'm going, things like that. So this Hanwoo basically comes here from hearing the JP gunshots, and in this matchup, I'm not going to be the clear-cut winner, neither am I going to be the obvious loser. So I'm going to be activating counterattack right here to give me a little bit of an edge in this fight. And throughout this fight, it's very important that I always keep an eye on my health bar, and I always make sure to give respect to opponents' offensive abilities. I can't let my health bar drop in range of an ability's skill damage attack, even if I'm in range of living just their normal attack. So I always have to give respect to kind of the worst case scenarios. I also always want to know my exit. If I leave to a random area that with items that aren't really going to help me, then I'm wasting time and wasting stamina kind of reorienting myself. So it's important to note right here, Hotel is essentially my escape route. It lets me continue to work on Lance of Poseidon while also offering me some items I'll need for my armor, like steel chain and watch, as well as as well as some pretty good recovery item options like the glazed sweet potato as well. And just something really quickly I want to talk about right here. You'll notice the Hanwoo played essentially opposite to kind of how I was talking about, and as a result he got punished and eliminated from the game very, very early. So basically, out of this fight, I'm able to put my health at a comfortable HP level, which will be even better very soon with both leveling up recovery and with health items I'll be finding from the Uptown. The Hanwoo, on the other hand, stayed to fight me way too long. Even with Brawler, his HP kind of dipped dipped low enough to put him kind of into catch-up mode, which made him very easy to finish off this early in the game. And this is why it's vital to always monitor your aggression so that it doesn't get out of hand. So you always need to make sure that you're not being over-aggressive and you're not overexerting yourself. So what I'm doing right here is kind of an important combat practice I want to talk about. So first things first, going for the metal chain was a greedy play, and it was a misplay. I put myself in a situation right here that I could be punished and eliminated from the game. So yeah, going for that steel chain on the William was disrespectful to the William, and it was a misplay. But anyways, what I'm doing right here is I'm backing out and setting myself up for a re-engage. You'll notice that I was easily out damaging the William. But instead of healing in his face and thus essentially wasting half of my recovery by taking a free hit to the face, I'm going to be backing out here and setting myself up to basically come back in on him. So I'm going to heal off the damage, I'm going to be able to switch to offense stance without being contested, and now I'm basically prepared to re-engage into the fight. Counterattack's on cooldown. If I had it available, I'd be engaging with that active as well. So the reason I stayed in Uptown for as long as I did was that I really wanted the Windbreaker and I really wanted the running shoes. A lot of times camping in kind of a single area for a single item is a huge waste of time. So basically I'm going to have to be satisfied with just the running shoes for now, and I'm going to have to pick up the Windbreaker later, at a later date, either at the school or at the well. So this is why it's important to know the locations of items, of all the items that you need for what you're trying to build, because quite often you have to adjust your route to incorporate alternatives for items you end up missing. And so going to the school here has two main purposes. I want to find a box so I can get the most value out of my chocolate pies. Obviously, I already used all my chocolate pies in earlier combats. I was forced to use the naked pies, but we're always hoping to kind of get value out of the box later at a later date. I mentioned boxes in a video that I made a little while earlier. But anyways, the second thing and the most important thing, of course, from the school that we need is a lighter. I ended up getting pretty lucky here with when I get the lighter and with running into a dog. But with this dog right here, I have to choose between the pen, which can set me up later in the game for Galaxy Watch, and the leather. And I choose leather because it's going to save me a lot of time. It's really going to clear up inventory slots really quickly, because when I find the Windbreaker, it's going to be clearing up a lot of inventory slots. And at the same time, my inventory slots right now just won't support me trying to make the watch at this point in the game. So I'm going to have to use a lot of resources, mainly my curry here, to be able to fight this dog, but it's 100% worth it, as we're building mastery, we're maintaining our momentum, and we're basically getting the free item as well, which is all really, really nice. This probably goes without saying, but going to the well is much higher priority than going to the temple at this point, and as kind of the next step in building Lance Poseidon, because we really need to get the Windbreaker to start opening up inventory slots, as I mentioned, as well as upgrading our shoes into the Heelys would be nice as well, getting a little bit of extra armor in the early game, as well as getting the Purified Water. And the Purified Water is actually one of the most important parts of this right now because I'm really running low on stamina items. A lot of times people who use Accelerate kind of neglect getting stamina recovery items, and they end up running out of stamina more frequently than people who just don't use the Accelerate in the first place because they have no way of topping themselves off, and like I said, a lot of times they just assume that they're going to be fine without the stamina recovery. So these are all really important. These are all why we're going to the well. It's before we go to the temple. Staying in on that Sylvia as long as they did was another misplay. As you'll see, we're basically put in another sticky situation right here. If anyone so much as sneezes on us, then we're eliminated from the game. So this is why I back out to the beach. At this point in the game, and with 22 seconds left before the area becomes restricted, the only people who are going to be coming to the beach are people who basically need to recover themselves, like myself, i.e. people who aren't actually going to be searching. So this is essentially the safest opportunity and the safest place I can go to heal myself up. So we're going to be doing the exact same kind of combat strategy as we did before. Heal up, change to offense stance, and re-engage, this time of course with counterattack and accelerate. When I get back to the temple, Sylvia has already left, so essentially I waste my counterattack. But the way I was looking at it is it's better to be safe than sorry. I'd rather waste counterattack than have to activate it mid-combat and basically after I've already taken the initial hit. So I finally make the correct play when retreating and back out with a respectable amount of health intact. Because I'm not hovering around like 20 HP like I was back when I backed to the beach, I'm pretty safe to retreat to the slum, where it's obviously the slum is a lot higher traffic than the beach, because I can essentially live any hit from anybody in this range, especially when you incorporate the bread that I have. But anyways, the slum is the next area that I'm going to because I'm looking to work to finish off my armor. I'm going to be getting the scrap from here, and when I go to the fire station, you'll notice that I take a very quick amount of burst damage, so I have to react quickly to the situation so I don't end up getting punished, which is very important because I really only have one curry left. So if I get put into catch-up mode, I'm going to end up losing a lot of momentum, and I might end up actually giving the lead off to the Sylvia or the William, who are tailing pretty closely behind me. And once I give up that lead's going to be very, very hard to regain.
Like a Hellcat.
So the next series of plays I make right here, I make because I thought I had the arm warmers, which I don't. So this is a pretty big misplay because I end up wasting kind of a pretty decent amount of time going after the hammer before going to the cemetery. And this goes without saying, but the Tree of Life is obviously going to be going into the Ghost Rider like it should. And this is the main benefit for using the Windbreaker armor upgrades over the Fabric armor upgrades. You basically have Ghost Rider already 90% of the way done when you find Tree of Life. What I generally prefer doing is getting the pen at the school early game, and then getting the thick paper at the temple, and then finishing off Galaxy Watch before I go to completely finish off the Rocker armor. Not only does this give me Galaxy Watch, which is stupid good, but it also gives me a lot more time to find the Tree of Life before I have to actually commit into making the Rocker armor.
Like a Hellcat.
You'll see I'm hesitating right here. That's because I kind of need some time to clear my head and think. So in general, you want to minimize the amount of times that you do this in the game. Ideally, you never want to be hesitating because you're wasting a lot of time. Eventually, I decide to go to the lighthouse, and I meet an ISIL here. The ISIL is actually going to be out damaging me, but he's playing too aggressively, and I punish him as a result and remove him from the game. So this is something you always need to be aware of. Even if you're leading your opponent with damage, you always have to be aware of your health, always have to be aware of your escape route, and always be aware of opponents' surprise abilities that they can whip out. So basically, the reason he was out damaging me was because I'm actually really pretty far behind on my armors right now. So that's why I need to start putting a lot more focus into right now, is building my armors. I'm going to the trail here for two important things. The first is kind of the most obvious. I need to finish off my Petal Dew, but I also want some Oriental concoctions. Having supplementary healing is really important for supporting your high burst damage healing. The last thing I want to do is be forced to use Petal Dew to heal off something like 60 damage. So having supplementary healing is going to keep my health topped off when I don't really need the quick, massive burst healing. I meet the other Fiora right here, but her damage output is about 25, while mine's going to be reaching about 50, so I don't really need to give much respect to her. I don't need to take the time to switch to offense stance or even activate counter attack, because it's just going to end up wasting me time, and it's going to be wasting time, and it's going to be wasting abilities, and she's going to be forced to leave any second anyways. So I'm hearing noises from the trail. This has been going on for some time now, which means there's a prolonged engagement happening. So the people there are going to be weakened to the point where I can kind of swoop in and hijack the fight. So switch to offense stance here, and I'm going to be engaging with counterattack. Also, watch how I activate counterattack. I activate it essentially when I'm mid-entering area animation, and I'm engaging with offense stance over normal stance because while there are two people here in the fight, I'm leading the game with damage, so I know I'm basically going to be scaring off at least one of them immediately. So I want to be in offense stance for the following 1v1 situation. You'll see the William just healing in my face, which I essentially equate to feeding in this situation. So in matchups with high damage output, it's almost always smart to kind of back off, get your healing, and then re-engage in offense stance like you've been seeing me do a lot.
Seat you by the fire. Listen, listen. There's something I must confide. I know I said that it'd be fine. I know I made it look like it'd be alright, but I think I learned my lesson, and I'm not gonna let you out of my sight. You can call me killer, 'cause I'll bring you to the light. And it might taste bitter when you're answering to God. You can call me killer as you look into my eyes. Nothing but a sinner. You won't get away this time. You won't get away this time. You won't get away this time. You won't get away this time.
So I went to the beach right there because I heard the noise. I'm actually running really low on stamina items, you'll probably notice that, so Breaking Ball is actually starting to get really annoying versus me. With that miss right at the end, that basically seals the deal that I have to back out. And retreating is really good because it lets me use my minor healing before I'm forced to use my pedal dues, which is perfectly fine. We can come back in on him as we've always been doing, and we're still going to be coming out pretty well in this engagement.
You can call me killer, 'cause I'll bring you to the light. And it might taste bitter
I mentioned healing people's faces a few times in this video and how it can sometimes be equated to feeding, but healing in the face of this William right here, using my healing items aggressively, is a no drawback play for me because of how much damage I'm dealing to him, how much instant healing I'm going to be getting off of the Petal Dew. Eventually I'm forced out, but I'm not forced out from the amount of damage. I'm basically forced out because of the stamina depletion. Like I said, not really from the HP depletion. Now that I'm just down to my Petal Dews, I need to find some more supplementary health items before they're either all taken or before all the areas are closed. So that's what I'm going to be kind of focusing on next, is trying to restock my supplementary healing. Alright, so that's going to about wrap it up. Let me know what you guys thought about this format, if you liked it, if it's too kind of all over the place with the amount of pauses and stuff. And like I said, I'll try to keep improving these. I think format's a little bit better than the previous format, but anyways, let me know what you guys think, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time.